Hey, family.
Hey.
Welcome to the Magic in Adventure. We just wanted to share a few things with you all today concerning how we plan for our vacations, particularly our upcoming Disney trip. We shared a quick introduction to our channel a few days ago, and so we just wanted to give you all a quick rundown on how we began the process of planning for our trips.
Yes. So as my lovely wife stated, we definitely want to give you some insight on how we plan for our trips. Now, remember, this is how we plan for our trips. It might not work for everybody. However, it works for us, and we've been able to go, have a great time, pretty much do whatever we wanted to do. So hopefully this information will be able to help someone.
Yep. So take what you can use from it, add to what you may already have. And we just hope that everyone enjoys the planning phase just as much as you all enjoy your travels in the future.
So the first thing, and this is really not even the first thing, but it's more like a disclaimer. Do not stress. Yes, it's vacation. You're going to Disney. You're going to spend a ton of money. But trust me, it's worth it, especially if you plan it out correctly and you budget correctly. So do your best not to stress. That sounds kind of good too. I kind of preached that. But trust me, if you map it out correctly, you're going to have a great time.
It'll all work out.
It's Disney. You're going to Disney, the happiest place on earth.
It'll all work out. And particularly our plans include traveling with a toddler. So as you know, traveling with toddlers, with babies, with kids, period, can add additional stress to your travels. However, it does not have to be as strenuous and as stressful as we think it's going to be. So once again, we hope that our tips help you all as you prepare, and take some of the load off, take some of the pressure off. You do not need to plan every second of every day, but it is useful to have an idea of the things that you want to do. But if, for instance, you're going down to the parks and you want to do 25 things at Magic Kingdom, and you have a 3-year-old like us, I'm gonna say start with the top 5. Let's just start there.
Yeah, definitely don't overwhelm yourself. It's a big park. It's open pretty much all day long. So, with that being said, you have time to space out. Do not, again, I'm gonna keep saying it throughout this video. Do not stress. It's Disney. You're not in a rush. You're not in a race. Yes, the lines may be long, but trust me, the way they set up these queue lines, they make them as in a way so you're entertained while you're waiting. So just try not to stress. Don't stress.
Don't stress. But let's start at the very, very beginning. For us, one of the first things that we try to think about when we get ready to plan a trip is to decide when we want to go. So when includes literally like the time of year. In what season, for instance, do we want to go? What month do we want to go? We usually, for the last few years, our trips have fallen around May, early June, where we are looking at the beginning of rainy season for Florida, for those of you who are familiar. So we'll talk about, things that you need to take with you in another video. But right now, just thinking about the time frame. Am I able to handle the climate, the temperature that I'm looking at traveling in? You need to think about that. You do not want to travel in July and August if you cannot stand heat and humidity. We are from the Midwest, particularly Metro Detroit. And Michigan humidity can be a little interesting during the summer, but it has nothing on the summer humidity in the Orlando area. Okay.
Yeah.
So just don't do that. But also don't plan a trip for the end of December, beginning of January, and expect it to be 85 degrees and expect, to be, to not ask for the heated pool at your Airbnb, okay?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get some sun around that time, like my wife said, around that December, January time, but it's definitely hoodie weather. We just saw recently people were wearing winter coats to the park.
Right.
So if you're looking to go when the weather is somewhat decent, somewhat nice, we would definitely recommend between March, April, and May. You'll get some decent weather there. You still might have to wear a hoodie maybe at nighttime, but generally the weather has been pretty decent when we went down around that time.
And we've got some really nice weather in March. But I will say, when we went in August, it was
brutal.
It was a lot.
It was very brutal.
And I'm so proud of our toddler for making it through. Cause hey, let's just say,
He's baby Jack for real.
Yeah. For my curly hair girls out there, the hair didn't make it. Let's just say that the hair did not make it. I went unbraided, and that was a major mistake.
Same go for the guys with the curly hair too.
That's true.
Curly hair guys. I can't say this enough. If you got an afro, try to get it braided or something, cause you
already know you and humidity don't go together.
Yeah.
And it's just that's just a fact. That's just a fact. So, yeah. All your product is gonna go straight out the window.
Unless you want to walk around the parks looking like Marv from Home Alone. Trust and know. That ain't the weather for you. So plan accordingly is what we're getting to. Plan accordingly. If you, like my wife stated earlier, if you like warm weather or you don't mind the extremely hot weather, by all means, go in the summertime. But if you're the type like us where we don't mind some nice sunny weather, but we also don't just want to be overly heated, trust me, March, April, May, we found those to be the best times for us to go.
So, alongside choosing literally the season that you want to look at how long you want to stay. Do I want to stay for 3 nights? Do I want to stay for 4 nights? And I say nights instead of days for a reason. There are some people who use their days as all their days as park days. We are not those people. We use our check-in day and our check-out days literally just as like resort, really laid back days, grocery shopping days, last minute shopping at Disney Springs or Universal City Walk days, or even the outlets.
Yeah.
We do not use those days as park days because that's just a lot of stress for us, especially because we usually drive. Not always, but we usually drive. So figure out how long you actually want to be there. And this is where you decide what your budget is going to look like based on how long you really want to stay. On average, we stay about a week, and not a week in terms of 7 days, but I mean like Monday through Friday. So usually we're checking in on a Sunday or a Monday. We're checking out on a Friday or Saturday. And that's usually enough time for us to do 2 or 3 parks, depending on what we really want to do. It gives us enough time to enjoy the resort if we're staying on property, enjoy resorts if we're staying off property as well. But then again, enjoy some other things around the Orlando area that we just love doing while we're in town. So,
yeah. Along with that, not just as far as your lodging go, kind of make up in your mind at the beginning of your planning stages whether you want to drive or if you want to fly. Now, we live in Metro Detroit, and we don't mind road trips. We both are, we said it throughout this marriage, we're road trip babies. So we're accustomed to driving, getting on the road with our parents as kids, even as teenagers, as adults, driving on our own. Of course, yeah, we've flown numerous times before, but for us, we found it to be more convenient to just drive, especially with our 3-year-old, because he gets to have his space. We get to have our own space. We like to go shopping when we go, so we want to have that extra room and not have to worry about, oh, is TSA going to stop me from taking this on the plane, or do
Being
I gotta
5 pounds over.
Yeah, dude. And we've dealt with that, which we'll talk about at a later time. But yeah, find out what works best for you, whether it's driving, flying. Don't do the Greyhound or Amtrak. Your whole trip gonna be based around just getting down there. But yeah, that's my wife's
No
state.
judgment if you do.
No judgment at all. But if you want 4 of your 5 days to be on the road, trust me, map it out. It's not bad. It's not that bad of a drive. We have activities in the car. We're usually doing karaoke, just being silly, all that. So just map it out, whether you want to drive, whether you want to fly. If you want to catch the train, that's okay. But just know you're going to be on that train for a while. It's not Hogwarts Express, so you're not going to get there right away. So yeah, map it out, lodging, whether you want to stay on property or if you want to stay off property. We've done both. We've enjoyed both. We really enjoy staying on property just because even if you're not going to the parks every day, you still kind of get some form of that Disney vibe. The cast members we've dealt with have been amazing.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, even at 2 a.m. when your toddler decides to wake up and you have to go for a walk with them around the resort.
He said he was on vacation. He wanted to get up and party.
But we've stayed off property as well, and we've had no issues with any of the workers that were at the off-property resorts, which, like I said, the resorts and everything, we'll go into details from our experience even more later on. But yeah, map out lodging, time you want to stay, time of year you want to go, how you plan on getting there, and trust me, the more you plan, we can't stress it enough, the more you plan, the easier that trip you'll find it coming along.
And let's make sure we throw this out there too. Believe it or not, it does not have to be as expensive as you probably think it is to stay on property. There are different types of Disney resorts. And again, we can kind of go into that and how we decide what we want to do based on the trip that we're actually planning. Like I think this upcoming trip, we are actually planning on staying at a value resort, which we've done before. We've stayed at Pop Century in the past.
Great resort, by the way.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. We can talk about specifics. But you can literally catch a just because deal during the year. And let's just say I book my travels now, and then there is a deal that posts in March and my travels aren't until June. I can call Disney and ask them to apply that discount to my booking. So that's nice. That's really nice. There's like Disney Plus discounts that was rolling around at one point in time. So again, believe it or not, sometimes we assume that staying up the street at like the Fairfield Inn, which is nothing wrong with the Fairfield, we love. We've stayed at a few that we absolutely love. It's cheaper than staying at, let's just say, like one of Disney's value resorts. Sometimes it actually is not, because you're going to have to pay like a resort fee, or sometimes you may have to pay for parking depending on where you're at. And by the time you add up all those numbers, you could have definitely stayed on property if you wanted that experience. So we try to do a little bit of both, just because, again, we like the experience of being on property, kind of being in the Disney bubble, because it really is like stepping into and driving into a world away from the world. Believe it or not, you can drive onto Disney's property and it feels like a different.
Yeah.
It really does feel
Definitely.
like a different world. The way that they created that place is still beyond me. As many times as I've gone, I'm still outdone. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, so along with planning your lodging and everything like that, as we mentioned before, try to plan some stuff outside of Disney. Trust me, it's worth it. Orlando is huge.
Yeah.
And we've done trips where we planned some Disney park days, but then we took the rest of the vacation to just do some other things. So just kind of, get online, look at different attractions, things like that. And yeah, trust me, that vacation will be amazing. Don't just try to base it around Disney just because it's a Disney trip, but also just kind of get out and explore. There's so much more, like we stated, that we know this is kind of a Disney Channel right now, but go out and see Universal. Go out to see Universal City Walk. Go their Top Golf. We've been there before a couple of times down there. And
SeaWorld, Busch Gardens.
SeaWorld, Busch Gardens. If you're a wrestling fan, they got a Hogan's Beach shop there, which is amazing. Trust me.
If you're a golfer, there's golf stores galore.
Yes. Golf on top of golf on top of golf. Not only outside, but Disney has their own golf courses there, which we took a boat ride from our last resort that we stayed at, which was Port Orleans Riverside.
Yeah.
And they have
which I think is one of the moderate resorts if people are trying to figure out where some of these properties are, because you can check Disney's website, and when you check places to stay, you can literally look
have them
look them by
categorized for
right. You can look at them by category, or you can look at all of them.
Yeah.
But if you were curious,
but yeah, it was fun because they have a boat ride that you can take, and you get to see quite a bit of Disney property. And you take the boat ride over to Disney Springs. For those that aren't familiar with Disney Springs, that is what used to be formerly called Downtown Disney, I believe.
Yes.
And so it's a huge property that Disney has: shopping, restaurants, just a great time. They have different entertainment store or venues there, I believe.
For those of you who may be on the West Coast who have traveled to Disneyland before, it is this basically the same thing as Downtown Disney at Disneyland. So at some point in time, they just changed the name at the one in Orlando from Downtown Disney to Disney Springs.
Yeah. So map it out. Definitely check out Disney Springs. I will put that on my list. I would definitely check out the outlet stores. For those that aren't familiar with the outlet stores, they are stores, literally, they have outlet malls in Orlando, but they have what's called the Disney Character Warehouse. And trust me, you will spend so much money in there if you're not disciplined.
But on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, what it is a lot of things that you could find previously at the parks. They've moved over to these stores, and they have the items at discounted prices, which the prices are amazing. Yeah. I mean, you found the Spirit jersey in there for like what, $20?
I found a pair of mini ears for like $8.
Yeah. So check out the Character Warehouse. There's 2 of them at their premium outlets. Definitely check out Disney Springs. And if you have a chance, try to put it in your plans to actually resort hop. That was something we had a chance to go and do.
Which resort hopping can get a little tricky depending on the season.
Yeah. Because
you cannot visit other properties if you are not staying as a guest at that property, or if you don't have a restaurant, a dining reservation at that property during certain seasons. So you got to be careful of that. But just in like a general season, normally when we go, like again in May, we've stayed at, again, a Value Resort one trip where we stayed at Pop Century, and right next door was Art of Animation.
Yeah.
And what connected those 2 properties was...
It was a bridge, but in the middle of that bridge was the hub for the Skyliners.
Yeah, for the Disney Skyliner. And that Disney Skyliner could take you to the hub that would either take guests to Disney's Hollywood Studios or Epcot. But the resort at that hub was Caribbean Beach. So we were able to hop on the Skyliner, ride over to Caribbean Beach. We got to walk around that property. We visited the stores. We're big on trying to visit some of like all the little Disney stores if we can, to do a little pin trading. It's a whole another conversation.
It's fun though.
And yeah, so that was a way that we got to see another property that we otherwise wouldn't have seen. And every once in a while you are able to do that. We also took that same Skyliner over to Epcot, and the Skyliner takes you to Epcot's back gate. So we were able to walk over to the boardwalk and see Disney's boardwalk and see a lot of the resorts that are over there, like Swan and Dolphin, which technically aren't Disney resorts, but they are part of the Disney family. So,
Yes.
which was nice.
Yeah, so definitely map out what you can. Your lodging, your transportation, what time of year you want to go, how long you want to stay. And from there, just kind of, once you kind of look up stuff, just kind of work out a budget. If you are looking to stay on Disney property, as well as go to the parks, they do have the packages on their website. If you're not comfortable with using their website, you definitely can call their cast members.
They're really great.
They are amazing that we've talked to on the phone. And then the good thing also is a lot of times the way they have their website set up, and I believe this is just a permanent thing, is a lot of times you just got to put down a $200 deposit on your trip. And you can pay on that up until, I believe they give you a month before your actual vacation.
And I think it may be a percentage of whatever your
Yeah.
vacation package is.
Yeah, so-
And as long as it's paid like a month out from
they'll
from
give
your
you a
trip.
deadline for when you have to have it paid for, and you can pay on it as much as you want,
Which
as
is
little
nice.
as you want, as much as you want. But as long as you have it paid up that month before,
You're
you're
good to
all
go.
good. And then choose if you want to do a dining plan. That's not something we've really done before. We just kind of eat on the go a lot of times, but
Because they don't necessarily have the Disney dining plans
Yeah.
that they used to have. So
But you
more
can
so
definitely do a
what you-
reservation.
Right. So
Yeah.
so basically, what we're talking about is like you legit like creating plans to dine at certain
Yeah.
certain restaurants, and we haven't been big on that lately. Again, with the toddler, we're kind of eat as you go. He's going to eat whatever it is he wants to eat. Sometimes it's French fries. Sometimes it's a whole meal. It just depends. On top of the fact that me and him are both vegetarian, so meals can get a little interesting. Sometimes all he wants is like pizza and like apples.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna eat at the restaurants at some of the deluxe resorts when I know all he wants is pizza and apples. So again, we just haven't prioritized that as of right now. We usually do grocery shopping.
Yeah.
So again, if you're thinking about your budget, you think about, let's just say you're going to drive, right? So we're going to go back over the list. I pick what time I'm going to go. So I know I want to stay somewhere for about 5 days. I look at how long it's going to take me to travel there if I'm going to drive. Am I going to rent a car, or am I able to drive my own car? It depends. I know everything looks different for each person, for each family. So the cost of a rental, maybe the cost of the deposit, always include the cost of the deposit, even though it's going to come back to you. Include the cost of gas. There are literally websites that you can guesstimate how much you're going to spend in gas. I always overestimate. Always leave a cushion in case you get a flat or things like that. We have AAA, so we haven't necessarily had a problem there. Plus, again, we're always renting. So, if we rent from Hertz, I can find another Hertz. If we rent from Avis, we can find another Avis, right? I look at how long do I want to spend on travel. Are you the type of people who can wake up at 3 in the morning and just ride out? Are you let's leave at 9 o'clock and just drive through the night? That's going to determine if you are just going to drive straight through, especially, again, like us, if you're coming from the Midwest, or if you're going to stop overnight. If you stop overnight, we've usually stopped in Georgia. That's always a good spot for us. One, because we know a ton of people. I went to college in Georgia, so in Atlanta. So staying outside of Atlanta it's just been easy for us.
It's been extremely convenient for us to just kind of stop. We're
Yeah.
both accustomed to driving to Georgia anyway,
Right.
so it's
It's kind of like, oh, okay, this is a good place to stop. So gives us a time to rest, gives our son time to wind down, actually get a good night's sleep. Then we can hop back up and keep going first thing in the morning for us. So again, now we have to include the cost of hotel to and from. And then we look at cost of groceries. We usually grocery shop. If we're staying on property, we're purchasing things that do not have to be cold. There is a small kind of refrigerator cooler in your room, but we aren't people that's big on like cereal and stuff like that anyway. Our son has been breastfed, so he does not drink milk. We're like oatmeal people, so we can take, like we are.
I go to the restaurant at the resort to eat. I'm bougie like that. I'm sorry, I am.
Don't get me wrong. I like my Mickey waffle too. But again, baby wants what he wants. Sometimes all he wants is a banana and oatmeal. So guess what? Mama's going to make sure he has his banana and his oatmeal. So we like to purchase fruit. Again, things that we can take into the parks as well. Things that we can have on hand. They're good for snacks in the morning, grab and go. They're also good for things to have in the evening when you're just kind of like, I'm not really hungry. I just need to have a snack. We take, other snacks, bottled water, like soda if we need to get it.
Just whatever we can take that we know will kind of cut down on our budget, because obviously prices are going to also be a little bit different state to state. So if we know it's something that we can get that's a little bit more inexpensive here, we try to load up on it. Not a lot. Like, we're not traveling down the road with groceries.
With a week's worth of groceries. No, we're not doing that. But we will order groceries once we get in town, or we will hit up Walmart. Okay, we will hit up our favorite Wally World and get our groceries, our snacks, and some souvenirs.
Yes, we'll talk about that too, because we're definitely gonna come back to talk about souvenirs and things like that. So
at the Wally,
stay tuned.
At the Target. Okay.
Trust me. I'm very frugal. I'm bougie but frugal, so trust me. We got
on a budget.
We got some stuff for y'all, so we definitely want y'all to stay tuned for what we have in store for you. But we do hope that this video will kind of give you an outline as far as planning. Remember, our key things for planning: figure out how long you want to stay, when you're looking to go, where you're looking to stay, how you're looking to travel. Did I miss anything? Because I feel like I might have covered it all.
Yeah, and then all the ins and outs.
And don't stress.
Attached to that, right. And
don't stress. Don't stress.
And be honest with yourself. Again, if you know your family cannot travel in like a 4-door sedan and you're going to rent a car, do not rent a 4-door sedan. Budget for getting a minivan. Budget.
Don't stress about if you're not able to stay on Disney property. Trust me, there's a ton of property down there, whether it's an Airbnb, Marriott,
which we've done
Hilton, like whatever.
Airbnb.
Yeah, we've done it. We've done Airbnb. We've stayed at a we call it Old Faithful, but it's a huge property down there by Sheraton that we love. It almost looks like a small apartment room that you get. So whether you want to stay on property, whether you want to stay off property, just really sit down and map it out. Map out what your budget is. Don't overspend. Don't overspend. Don't let going make you miss out on bills. Trust me.
And don't let other people's vlogs and other people's blogs and the internet fool you again into thinking that you need to be at Cinderella's Round Table, be our guest restaurant, all these random restaurants. You need to try all the things at Disney Springs. You then need to go over to Universal Studios, try everything at the City Walk. No.
Trust me. Like I said, we're definitely gonna be doing some videos to cover more in depth our experience as far as restaurants go, hotels go, all of that. But do what's best for you as far as a trip. If you feel like budget-wise you can only go for 4 days, that's okay. Go. Trust me. Make the most out of those 4 days. If you feel like you can go for a week, some people go for 2 weeks. That's great.
If you want to go and don't go to the parks, do that.
Exactly.
We've done that as well.
Exactly, because once again, it's Orlando. There's a ton of things to do outside of Disney and Universal. So trust me. Sit down, get on a computer, get on your tablet, map out the trip. Map it out. And trust me, you will not be disappointed. Map it out. Know what your budget is for yourself. Don't overdo it. And trust me, you'll have a good time, especially if you have a solid budget in place. You're going to enjoy yourself. Trust me.
And our hope overall is just that we encourage other young families to just get out and experience new things. Whether, again, if you're from the Midwest, that's taking a few hour drive and going to Great Wolf Lodge. If that's taking a trip to Cedar Point, that's taking a trip to Disney, that's taking a trip to Myrtle Beach. Shut up. You know, that's renting an RV and taking a trip cross country. We're just hoping that we encourage other folks to begin to look at other ways to experience life and experience the world and create core memories for you and your family, whatever that looks like for you.